Hi, welcome to another model answer video. This time we're on the causes of uneven development and looking at development change over time with a question about the demographic transition model. I'm going to go through the question, data, talk about some of the things that you might talk about from the data, and then show you a model answer with a breakdown of the point, the evidence, the explanation and the links within that answer to help you structure a potential response of your own. So the question is, to what extent can the demographic transition model be applied to countries at different levels of development, shown in this table? And the table of information that we've got lists 6 countries: Burkina Faso, India, Brazil, Botswana, the UK and Germany, and gives us their birth rates and death rates for 2004 and 2012. The key terminology in the question is the command word "to what extent," which means we have to make a decision in this question. We have to decide how much we agree that the demographic transition model can be applied to those different countries at different levels of development. And obviously we need to show an understanding to the examiner of the words demographic transition model and development. So we can use this data to compare between countries and their level of wealth and link it quite nicely to the effect of changing birth and death rates that are caused by changes in the country's level of wealth. For example, the UK has a low rate of growth. We've got low birth rates and low death rates compared to other countries in the table, like Burkina Faso, for example. And so we can make inferences there about the quality of healthcare in the UK, things like the National Health Service providing a universal healthcare for everybody with a vaccination programme, with high standards of primary care, versus Burkina Faso as a less well-developed country where access to medicine is likely to be low, access to vaccinations and clean water is again likely to be low, contributing to higher numbers of people dying and a higher death rate as a result. So let's have a read through a model answer to this question. Burkina Faso is in stage 2 of the demographic transition model. I know this because its birth rate in 2012 is 43 and its death rate is 12. This means that, in comparison to the other countries in the table, its birth and death rate are both high, so it has a low level of development typical of stage 2. However, its death rate has fallen by 7 per thousand between 2004 and 2012, which shows there has been development in healthcare over time. On the other hand, Germany is in stage 5 because its birth rate is lower than its death rate. Furthermore, Germany's birth rate fell from 9 to 8 per thousand between 2004 and 2012. This means that its population is in decline due to factors such as high levels of education and inequality, which enable women to pursue a career rather than there be an expectation on having larger families. I therefore strongly agree that the demographic transition model can be applied to countries at different levels of development, because countries' birth and death rates are influenced by social and economic factors such as improvements in healthcare and education that help a country to develop over time. In this answer, my first paragraph discusses a country with a low level of development, uses data from the table to support my point, and explains how that links to stages of the demographic transition model. In this case, Burkina Faso in stage 2 because of its high birth rate and falling death rate. My second paragraph uses an appropriate connective, "on the other hand," to compare and contrast Burkina Faso with a more developed country, in this case Germany. Again, I make the point that Germany is in stage 5 and say why its birth rate is lower than its death rate. I then use the data from the table to exemplify this and go on to explain a reason why this may be the case. In my third paragraph, I conclude using the question words to help me, addressing the "to what extent" command and summarising my key point from my answer. In purple are my points. Burkina Faso is in stage 2 of the demographic transition model. Its death rate has fallen. Germany is in stage 5, and I therefore strongly agree that the demographic transition model can be applied to countries at different levels of development. In gold, the evidence that I have used to exemplify those points. I know this because its birth rate in 2012 is 43 and its death rate is 12. By 7 per thousand between 2004 and 2012, and its birth rate is lower than its death rate. Germany's birth rate fell from 9 to 8 per thousand between 2004 and 2012. Notice that I've used 2 pieces of evidence in each paragraph to exemplify each of my points. In blue is the explanation. I use phrases like "this means that," "which shows," and "because" to show the examiner that I am offering explanation and showing my understanding of the demographic transition model. Finally, in yellow, I have highlighted my linking words. However, on the other hand, furthermore, and in the conclusion, my use of the question words to show that I link back to the question. So I hope you found that model answer useful. My advice to you now would be to skip back on the video and pause at the point where I've got my model answer highlighted with those different characteristics, and have a go at forming an answer of your own, perhaps using different countries and making slightly different explanations to support that point, but using my model as a scaffold and a framework, a starting point to help you improve your own work.